So it's a full Russian program, quite dark. Well, the three major pieces. One is the Rachmaninoff cycle of etudes. Apart from 1.5 etudes, it's all shades of sadness and darkness. But within those limits, Rachmaninoff has a very wide palette of moods. I find it very interesting as a storytelling cycle. The etude bit of the etudes is not as important as the tableau, pictures, paintings bit. The Shostakovich is an arrangement I made myself of his 8th quartet, one of his strongest, most autobiographical works. He wrote it at a dark moment of his life. He was forced to join the Communist Party, in a way betraying his own beliefs and thoughts. And then a few months later he was sent to Dresden to write music for a propaganda film, and instead he wrote this quartet, as he wrote his friend, ideologically false quartet that nobody needs. But the main subject is his own initials, D-E-S-C-H, so the first letters of his name, German. He quotes about 10 or 11 of his own works in the quartet, and also an old revolutionary song, Tormented by Heavy Captivity. And altogether, as he wrote himself, it could have been dedicated to his own memory. So in a way, it's his own thoughts on death, and there's quite a bit of darkness again there. In the second half, the Scriabin is a pure ray of light in this program. It's all in the upper registers of the keyboard. It's pure, blinding, crystal clear light. Beautiful tone, beautiful, very lush harmonies. The second movement, basically written in as fast a tempo as you can go, prestissimo volando, is very fast. Is a flight of fancy. It's just 7 minutes, both movements, and yet, because Scriabin repeats the main theme, which appears in a very dreamy way in the opening of the first movement, it's repeated in the middle of the second movement, and there's a huge triumphant climax at the very end of the second movement. It's all brought together into one unit. I find it one of the genius examples of how to write a full sonata in a very, very complex scale. And I think in a program like this pure brightness of it is needed as an antidote. So the Prokofiev is ambiguous. The war sonatas were written late 30s, early 40s. They're obviously influenced by the horrors of the war, but also by the internal horrors of what was going on in Russia at that time. And if the 6th sonata is just a brutal, very violent embodiment of war in music, and the 7th sonata is for me about the horrors of the regime, the 8th sonata is unclear. It is almost as if Prokofiev managed to get one level above himself and present to us a chronicle of the times in all their variety. That's the general spectrum of the program. Every one of the 4 pieces is a completely different world. So even between the Shostakovich and the Prokofiev, the Shostakovich is so much more personal, so much more about himself, whereas the Prokofiev is much more objective, much more about the time, much more about the period he was writing about.